Okay, year 7. Okay, so this week you're going to be set work which is to do with the North American Indian Totem Poles. So let's get started. I've made a little quick sketch which I've downloaded, uploaded onto my computer, and I've just dragged it in from my desktop onto my page here in Krita. And I'm just going to, I'm using the transform tool that I can move it around and adjust the size. That's the square. The square one is the transform tool, and the cross one is just for moving objects around the space. This one, you use it to change sizes and things. We'll also be using it in the second part of this video, which involves photography. I'm just going to get it to the right size and on the page as I want it. Now I'm coming in now. Now I'm going to use the shapes fill tool to fill in the shape here of this sort of the eye area. That's the shapes fill tool there. Make sure it's on the pen tool at the top, and then you can use all the different pens at the bottom there, as long as the pen tool is on. So we're going to get this shape filled in. As you can see, I'll put the opacity down. The opacity there is at the top right hand corner, or near the top right hand corner there, which you can adjust. So you can see the drawing underneath. Now, obviously this is on another layer. So I've got my drawing on one layer, and now I've started to work on another layer. And I can choose the layers I can introduce a new layer by pressing the small little plus key there on the plus sign, the small plus sign just below the layers, the layer dock. Okay, now I've put in the green, I've worked on the nose as well. Some of this I've actually speeded up because it takes quite a while. So now I'm going to be working on the eye. So I'm making sure that I've got using the circle tool. And have you noticed at the bottom there on the options for the tool there, it's got foreground colour. So I've got a foreground colour and the brush. That means it will fill the circle in. And if you can also have an option of no fill, so then you'll just get the circle. Now I'm going to copy and paste, so I've used a selection tool, which we used in the last video, to select the area, the circle. And I copied and pasted and brought it over. Now I'm going to use the circle again, but I don't want any fill in this time, so I've changed it. See on the options there, it says no fill and a brush. And I've also changed the colour. So I want it white. Now, to get rid of the selection, when you make a selection, to get rid of it, you have to actually tap on. You have to drag on another selection tool, bring it in and tap on to the page. It's a strange situation where I can't find any other way of cancelling out a selection. Just go onto another selection tool there, the little dotted symbols there on the left hand side. Right, now I'm going to merge these layers together here. So it's merge layer, and I'm going to turn them into a quick clipping group. That means the two layers, that's the red layer with the red, and the green of the nose is now one layer. And because I've turned them into a clipping group, it means I can work on top of them without interfering with anything around. Okay, so I merged the two layers together, selected clipping group, and then the layers are together, and also they're a clipping group, which means I can work on top of them without interfering with anything around, with the background or any of the foreground images. And now I'm just putting some colour down here. I'm using the colour tool, very simple colour tool here, to add some colour. So I want a 3D effect. So I'm putting the 3 tones down, and I'm going to use a cotton bud tool to blend it in, to blend them together. So once this is done, you'll see I'll select the cotton bud tool, which I like to use to, no, I've blended that one. Now I'm just working on this one, on the cotton bud tool. So just to work it round, to try and give it the 3D effect. There we go. Just give it now, so I go make it smaller. Where I make it smaller, and make the image smaller, do the plus and the minus on your keyboard. So plus and minus on your keyboard makes the image go smaller or larger. And if you want to make any of your brushes to go larger or smaller, you press the keys for the bracket keys. And also, if you want to use it as a rubber, you just have to press the E key on your computer, and it turns any brush into a rubber. Just going to give this a bit more of a 3D effect on the nose. So I noticed on the when I looked into totem poles, they're almost, because they're carved out of wood. You have this sort of, this really interesting sort of 3D quality to them. Some of it's quite rounded, some of it's quite sharp edges and rounded edges. So I thought I'd have a sharp edge here, and I'm going to emphasise it by putting a sort of white line down the middle of it. So I'm going to use I use a line tool in a minute with white to there we go. So I've used the line tool there. I'm just going to move it slightly using the move tool. There we go. So it's down through the middle. Just to sort of give it the emphasis, just give a little bit of emphasis on the nose there. Okay. So I'll just do a little bit on the background. I'm not actually going to complete this one because it will take me far too long. I wanted to move on to the other version. So I'll just do a bit of background, and also I do one of the wings. So I'm just adding some black here, using this colour fill tool as well. This is a really good colour fill tool. Gives you plenty of control. Of course, this is the layer behind the mask layer, the red and the green layer. So it'll go behind. So it just disappeared behind the image there. Always keep an eye on your layers. You can move your layers around so things can go in front of one another by just dragging each layer up and down. So I'm working on going to work on the wing. So I've got a shape here, which I'm going to copy and paste this shape. So I select it with the selection tool. Now I go into copy and paste. So then I can repeat that same shape throughout the wing, across the wing. So as you can see, each one as you copy and paste, each one becomes a different layer. So then you can click on those layers and I can move it around. Also I can change the direction and the size. So some of these will just have to be jiggled around to make them fit in with the shape of the, there we go, you see, so you can move them around, change the size, change the shape, or change the size and proportions. I mean, I could change the shape with the transform tool, which I will do in the next project. I'll be using the transform tool to change the shape of something. So this is working on separate layers gives you lots of control. So just moving these around a little bit. So I've got a black background to this. I've already done the back background for the wing. I've just it's on the opacity is down at the moment. So I'll bring the opacity back up. Now I'm going to just work on the outline of the and I'm using called a Bezier tool here, which enables you to do curves. And the way I've done this curve is with the mouse, you pull it, you drag the mouse out with it pressed down. Then when it comes to the point where you want it to bend, then you release your mouse. So you start off by clicking it down, you drag it along to the point where you want the bend to occur. Then you release it, and that's when you can be able to move and extend the curve. There's various other things you can do with the Bezier tool, but that's what I'm doing at the moment. So I'm pressing it down, dragging it along, releasing it where I want the curve to begin, and then I can create the curve and the arc from that point. So I'm using it again. I'm going to put a little bit of red into this one. So I'm dragging it along, and I let go, and I can just bend it round like that. Okay. So I do the same going round the. I'm going to put a red line also around the wing in a second. As you can see, to get rid of the selection, I had to click on another selection tool. So I've added some feather lines there using the Bezier tool. Just going to adjust these a few again. So and now I'm just doing the outline. So there again, I'm just dragging it where the curve is, releasing.